So I want to show you something that this was announced recently in reference to the new banking crisis. So former Congressman Barney Frank, it was just announced that he's joining the board of Signature Bank, and Signature Bank just announced they had a collapse. And his response was, the reason why he's joining the board is because I need to make some money. They're just they're very open with it now, like not even trying to hide it. And I was going to ask you, like, if you look back at what you found about the '08 housing crisis and the corruption within the banking industry, compared to what you see happening right now with Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank, do you see any similarities when you compare it to '08?
Oh, absolutely. The game with 2008, it's the same story over and over again on Wall Street. Like, you find some corner of the financial universe that's unregulated, and everybody sets up basically a gambling shop there, and they trade in products that the government doesn't really monitor. And before you know it, everybody's leveraged to the hilt, and there's too much risk in the system. And then eventually it breaks, and there's catastrophic losses, and the government has to step in and bail everybody out. And that's happened over and over and over again, dating back to the mid 80s. You had the S&L crisis. That you can actually go back further than that to look like the bankruptcy of New York. Then there was the stock, the internet stock craze in the mid 90s was the same thing. Then you had mortgage-backed securities, which was the same, another version of the same thing. And crypto and tech stocks and dark pools, it's all kind of the same stuff. The irony of Barney Frank saying that, I mean, I covered the Dodd-Frank bill, and I had to spend probably 6 months of my life going to Washington to cover the formation of that bill. And they worked incredibly hard to make sure that we didn't pass really, really simple laws that would have created transparency in all sorts of markets, like mortgages. They never got around even to doing something for crypto that would have made sense. But that's how you get rich members of the Financial Services Committee. They all retire and they take jobs on the boards of banks, and it's the same thing as somebody who works at the SEC in the enforcement wing. They work for a little while, then they leave and they sign the equivalent of an NBA contract, with some defense firm or a bank or whatever. And that's why nothing ever happens that's positive in terms of reforming this stuff. So Barney Frank, I actually, again, I'm from Massachusetts too. Like, I kind of like him. He's funny. He has a reputation of being a jovial guy who will get along with anybody, even on the other side. Like, he's personable, but as a symbol of what's wrong with the system, he's pretty prominent to me. Like, and there are some others on the other side too. But yeah, that's the problem with this system, is that it's now become normal for politicians to leave office and try to monetize their experience. We don't think of it as crazy anymore when the Clintons or whoever, when they do that, and that's depressing. Just to end on a quick note, like, I'm friends with Dennis Kucinich. He's still living in the same house. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy who grew up poor. He lived in a car for a while. Yeah. He was in Congress. He did it because he's a public servant. He doesn't care about, there's no end game with a person like that. And how many of those politicians are there? Not many, and that's what you're saying about where are those revolutionaries now? Or like, where are those people you can trust? They're not there anymore. So it's depressing.